3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I was done fixing my hair yet.
I know, man.
Gosh.
I like to make it a pressure situation where
It
you're
was.
like looking for the keys where the killer gets you. I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph. It's time for another top 10. It's time for a top 10 on the top 10.
It is. So last time
It's a
we
top
did this
10
list,
more.
it's a top 10 part D.
How do you all say it? Top more 10 more tops.
10 more underrated, something like that. I don't
10
know.
more
We'll figure it out.
underrated games of what we're talking about today because we got so many likes on our first underrated games list that we decided to extend because honestly, there's no real shortage of games that you think, and we all have different underrated games. So we're like, why don't more people like this game?
Yeah. And so we asked for 1,000 likes on our first video. And we said if we did get 1,000 likes, we'll do a second video. And so we're going to say if we get 2,000 likes on this video, that's 4, 2,000 likes on this video, we'll do a third.
We're going to
because
keep it going.
There's a lot of games where we're like, why don't more people play these games?
What we have today is not all of the games that we're like, this is not.
No,
these
this
are
list was too long.
criminally
We had to cut
underloved.
down this list.
I know.
Indeed.
But we're going to go ahead and jump right into 10 more underrated games. If you want to look for the original underrated games, they'll be in the description of this video. There might be a card flying over my head right now. So we do have our 10 games, and these are 10 more criminally underrated games. Let's get into number 10. So number 10, we have a delightful game that we were shown by Ruel Gaviola, who is someone who has been stumping for this game for some time.
Just really clanging this bell.
And this is Wreck Raiders. This is a delightful game that you are basically your treasure. You're going diving for treasure.
Yes.
You're looking for stuff at these different like shipwreck sites.
No, shipwreck sites,
And you have your little divers and things that go around. You have a
Old
number
school
of
divers,
them.
the big fishbowl helmets.
I
Yeah.
would like to be in one of those once in a while. I wonder if I would freak out.
Probably a little bit.
And you're kind of set collecting different treasures and stuff. And when you pick up these treasures, they're kind of different colors and things. On the backside, they have like items that are kind of based around. There's like a bunch of gold and stuff, and a bunch of like
gems and a bunch of
gems. And you can basically use what you collect in 2 different ways. You can use them kind of just for the color, and you got to put them in a certain order. In like you're sending stuff to a museum.
Yeah,
It's sort of kind of like contract fulfillment.
You're making like a little exhibit. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be the first one to make kind of the right order of things to be able to claim the card and get the points and stuff. Or you can kind of store them in your vault, and there you're going to use like the actual imagery on there, and you want to have a bunch of different.
Yeah, it's really cool,
things.
and it's got a really cool like dice. It's a dice drafting game.
Yeah.
And you're drafting all these dice, and there's 6 shipwrecks, and so when you draft a die, whatever die pip is on there, you're going to send one of your divers to that shipwreck.
You're going to send, I think, specifically to a number that's at that shipwreck.
Sorry, yeah,
There's
exactly.
1 through 6 at each shipwreck, and so you place
That's
them
what it
onto
is.
that
My apologies.
space.
And you place it on that space, but you can also, there's no blocking, because if someone's already there, you can basically kick them out to the beach, but they get a reward when they do it.
Kick them into a
And you're
current,
getting
they go
different
wash up
shells and stuff, and those shells essentially give you a little bit of special power, so you can like turn them in to do something a little bit special.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
build
It's got
aquariums.
it's got a great production value. The art's really cool, and it's just an interesting dice selection. You actually use the box in the game. You roll the dice in the box, which is like super cool. There's all this really cool stuff in the game, and and I feel like Ruel is like the only person who talks about it. We're the only people who kind of talk about it. It's great.
Yeah, we really like it. That's Wreck Raiders, our number 10. So let's go ahead and get number 9.
Number 9 is a game called Kanagawa. This is
Bruno Catala, can you do it
Catala
wrong?
special right here. This is Kanagawa. This is a game where you are a painter. And I really think art, we got to do another top 10 underused themes because art I really think is one of the most underused themes. But you are a painter, a Japanese painter, and you're building this beautiful big panorama, essentially, this big old long painting. And it's got this really cool card drafting system where you're going to put these cards out into a row, and you can essentially draft a column. Now, and the very beginning, there's only 1 card in each column. So you can choose to pass, and then once everyone has passed or taken a column, then you'll add another card to the columns left over. So it's one of those situations where you're like, ooh, I really need this card, but I don't want to only get 1 card.
Right.
But then if you pass, Mike be like, I'm going to take this, and you're like, that's what I wanted. I should have just taken it. And so it's this weird balance of trying to get more stuff, but also trying to get the thing you need. And then the cards you can turn into lessons, because you're a student. You're a painter student.
You're not going to paint every card you get.
No, you're not going to paint because you might
them.
not know how. And so you have to learn. You can learn how to paint like different landscapes, like mountainscapes or seascapes and things like that. There's all these different things in your painting you can have as like trees, and you're essentially going for these diplomas, and the diplomas will be like, once you have 4 trees, you can claim this diploma. So you're trying to do a little bit of set collection in that way, and it's really great. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And again, it's a game that like I feel like came out and kind of people at first were kind of like, oh, this game's kind of cool.
Finally got an expansion recently, but it was
years
sort of
and
like,
years and years later.
yeah, way after the fact. But yeah, it's a game that we really enjoy. I think the art and the style,
super
the
unique in the
is
way it
really
plays.
cool.
Yeah,
and it's quick and like accessible.
Yeah,
you know? There's a lot of fun little things going on in Kanagawa, and that's why it's our number 9.
That's right. Let's get number 8.
Number 8 is a simple, pretty much just luck-based
kind of
game called Bandito.
There's some skill.
There is some
really.
skill. No, there is some skill. Like you can place these cards out, but in this game, this is on Board Game Arena. It works really well on Board Game Arena.
Yeah.
This is a game where there's a bandit who's trying to dig their way out of prison, and they've made all these different tunnels. And your goal is to just close off any and all possible exits that this criminal can take.
They start with 6. Yeah.
They start with 6 or 5, depending on your difficulty level. And you're just trying to stop
them.
all the digging. But you do this by playing cards that have various tunnels and various exits and stuff. And this comes down to a lot of times you're going to add a card and it might add exits.
Yeah, it's going to make it worse.
You know, as you're looking for this bandit and stuff. And so it's a really fun game because you'll get so close to victory. Yeah. And you play one card and all of a sudden you're so far away from victory again. Yeah. But then you can make a good card play and all of a sudden you get right there and you're done. Yeah. You know, it's really a
because
good
you
time.
have to close off the exits. You can either close off the exits by making an exit a loop into something else and that closes off, or there are these security guards with flashlights and that's like a dead end. And so the problem is sometimes you'll get down to one exit and you only have 3 cards and you have to play a card. Right. And you only can choose from 3 and you're like, all 3 of the cards are going to add 3 exits. And you're like, well, I'm about to make this way worse. There's nothing you can do. And the one thing about this game, the game is tiny. It comes in a tiny little box, but it is huge. It sprawls so large. So it's a huge table hog, but it's become one of my favorite fillers. It's co-op. I think it's so much fun.
It's such a good time. It fits into a box that goes in your pocket.
And I had never heard of it. And maybe we're just the ones like, everyone knows that game. I mean, we're just the ones, but man, I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
That. I know that there's, Bandita as well, which is like
adds
like
a couple different modules and stuff. Yeah.
I'm interested in that as well. But Bandito is our number 8. It's just really
really
good time. Because you're just all in it together. Yes. You're like, this sucks.
And
then the next person to the line goes like, it's not going to be better.
And everyone's going to make it worse at some point. You know, it's just, there's nothing you can do.
It's so fun, but you kind of band together and like, why'd you play that card? You're
like,
why all bad
why
cards.
do you hate me personally?
There's no good cards in this game. That's Bandito, our number 8.
Let's get to number 7.
Number 7, it's kind of our hot take. This is Carpe Diem.
This is going to go against a lot of things we usually say.
Yes. Now, the reason Carpe Diem makes the list is because I feel like it does qualify as an underrated game because the game that is within in this package is good. It's a good game.
It's great.
With some real production issues. Yeah. Even with the new version of Carpe Diem, it's still not great. Yeah. It's better. It's a lot better. It's not great. The original Carpe Diem is a travesty of a looking game.
It's true.
And this is something that's like, this is Aaliyah's fault.
Yeah,
like they just bungled it.
Yeah,
they didn't do well with the.
I think they were
bad,
like,
it's ugly, it's hard to play.
It's a Stefan Feld Aaliyah game. It'll do well. And here's the thing: I think it actually did okay as well. But the thing is,
despite its flaws,
I think the game could have been maybe not like Castles of Burgundy's size, but could have been one of his more well-selling, well-regarded
kind of
games.
Accessible,
if it looked any better.
Yeah. And then they fixed it retroactively, but it has some stink on it now. Yeah. You know, maybe in time people will only ever know the new version, and it's like kind of like now it's sort of like
the game again.
Yeah.
You know,
we
it's
have
like,
the old version. We're not going to rebuy it.
We have the old version. We're not going to rebuy it.
But this is one that like it's really a shame, and so we put on the underrated list because like as we play this game and we do like trudge through the old looking game, and it's a really fun game. We really enjoy the gameplay of it. I love all the ways you can score points and stuff and the things you want to
I love the way you get
on.
tiles with the big wagon wheel.
It's fairly easy to understand how the game works. And so it's one of those ones that like we were kind of going back and forth on like, do we put this on the list and stuff? Because like, production wise, it's an absolute fail. But there is a really fun game in there. Yeah. And so it's like one that if you've seen that there's a new version out there and I would recommend you give it a go. I wouldn't try the old version because it's literally hard to play sometimes because it's so unfriendly to the eyeball.
Yeah.
In
it's
terms
just-
of like being able to see what is on the tile.
It's hard to
Not
tell
that
things
it's, like,
apart.
ugly. It's
That's
like
the
literally
thing.
hard to
Yeah,
tell
it's
apart.
literally hard to tell things
It's like we've
apart.
got dark green building on dark green grass, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, who approved
We have
this?
gold building with brown building, and that gold is not like shiny gold. It's just lighter brown.
Pretty crap gold.
Yeah, it's rough.
I know now we're trashing or whatever, but it's a really that's why it
That's why it's
frustrates
on
us,
the
'cause I'm like,
list,
this is
right?
a really fun game if you can like get to it.
Yeah.
But we do think the game is underrated. The game itself, we don't think the production's underrated at all.
Overrated,
It's
if
horrible.
anything, yeah.
But the game is really good. I would consider giving the new one a go. The new one is much improved in the visual department. Much more playable. Maybe someday we'll get it on a sale or something. I would love to because I really do want to play that game more. That's Carpe Diem, our number 7.
All right, let's get number 6. Our number 6 is a kind of a re-implementation-ish of a game. And this is Key Flow,
This
which
is
is
one
kind
that
of like
we stump for.
we stump for Key Flow. We're big
Play Key Flow.
clanging that bell. Key Flow, play Key Flow. Key Flow is kind of a sequel to Key Flower, which is in the big Key game. And Key Flower is the most well-regarded of all the Key games, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
And in this game, you are drafting cards. It's like the card drafting version of Key Flower.
You're building out a town.
And you're building out a town like you do, and you can use each other's stuff like you can in Key Flower. But one reason why we like Key Flow is, one, we just like card drafting games. And this game is just, it's so fun the way you build out your estate. And you're putting out these cards, and those cards will give you resources. Some will let you
Different,
turn
like,
resources into
production.
other resources.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to get scoring cards. You're essentially, like this scoring card might want, like, for every gold you have on this one, you'll get like 2 points. You're trying to then get all your resources to that card.
Yeah, it moves through a year. So in spring and summer, it's all about getting cards that produce stuff. And then in fall and winter, you're sort of preparing for winter. You want to get your resources to certain places.
And then you're going to get all scoring cards, essentially. It's very, very cool. It's very fun. But one thing we really like about it is it plays like up to 6, but you only really care about your neighbors. And that's very much like Keyflower in that sense, because you can use each other's buildings. But one thing we like about it more than Keyflower is that Keyflower can be kind of mean, and we're not really mean gamers.
Keyflower is can be very in your face strategic.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people like that for it. We're just not a huge fan of that. Keyflow, you can use your neighbor's stuff, but it doesn't ever take anything away. I'm just like, I'm gonna use that building, and Mike just goes, okay, because it doesn't affect him at all.
I don't have to do anything. I don't lose anything. I don't gain anything. Nick just does.
But it's also nice because to me, it makes the game really open because you're like, oh man, I can't get the cards I need. But Mary over here has the cards that I need, and I'll just use her stable. I'll just use her blacksmith shop or whatever it is. So I really like the openness of it and being able, you essentially have 3 estates to choose from, not just your own.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
It's nice.
It's a very tough game in terms of like trying to get all the points you need and stuff. And the scoring takes a long time.
But it's fun. It's fun to like really try to min-max a little bit.
You min-max the scoring and it's
like,
really fun.
Where is the best places for my stuff?
Yeah, it's us and Steph Hodge are the ones who are just constantly clanging the Keyflow
It's
bell.
so good.
Really, really love it.
People
Check
should
it out,
play it.
especially if you like Keyflower. Check out Keyflow. It's really, really fun game.
Quick and easy, less mean. It kind of takes all the things from Keyflow that we like and takes away some of the stuff that's not our favorite.
Exactly.
It's really good. That's Keyflow number 6.
6.
Top at number 5. So number 5 really could have been any one of Haba's sort of next level games. On our previous list, we had Miyabi.
I feel we probably said this exact same thing in that list too.
Probably we did. Now here's another one. We promised you it, probably. This is Honga. So Honga is
so good.
is a really fun game that has this cute saber-toothed cat on the front.
Name Honga.
And you need to keep Honga happy, basically. But this game comes down to gaining resources, contract fulfillment. There's kind of a few different things you can do. You can work up this like temple track.
Gives you points,
which gives you points and kind of resets throughout the game. You can collect mammoths and stuff, but it all comes down to those contracts. And the reason we like this game so much is it has a really fantastic, unique action selection system.
It does.
That we haven't really seen in many other games.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So basically, there's a couple different spots on the main board where you can put these little circular cards, and these circular cards are broken up into quadrants, and those quadrants will have a certain amount of hands in them.
They're kind of distributed in different amounts.
Yeah, there's usually I think 4, and they're distributed kind of cacao style in that way, and they're distributed around the different things. And basically, you'll put it down and. On the spots on the board, those hands will point to 4 different quadrants on the board.
Spaces.
4 different action spaces on the board. And basically, if you have 3 action spaces over here on the temple track, you'll then activate the temple track 3 times. If you have one hand over here, you'll do that one time. So it's this tough puzzle of trying to figure out which card to play and then where to rotate it and then where to place it. But here's the thing is, you have Hanga. Hanga's in the middle. And you have to pet Hanga because Hanga is a big old kitty. And that kitty wants to get pet. You got to pet
will
Hanga.
take offense if you do not pay attention.
So here's the thing. If you don't put one of those hands towards Hanga in the middle, Hanga will come over to your player board and start eating your resources. And so you got to pay attention to Hanga. Yeah. Hanga is, they need the attention. And so you got to pet Hanga all the time. And so there's also that thing of like, okay, I'm not going to pet Hanga. And they're going to come eat my resources, but I really need to do these other things
and
here.
You have some cards that can get rid of Hanga and do other things.
Yes.
There's really like a lot of really fun things in this game.
And it's really feels unique.
Selection system. I'm like, how is this not in a bigger game?
Yeah, I would love to have a big game.
The whole like Cacao it does a similar thing, but it's also a light game. Like, give me a beefy game where you can choose this thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna do 2 of these actions, one of it. Like, I'm sure it exists.
Yeah, give me like a heavier game.
But like, Hanga is really fun, and it's that next level game. So it's not a little kids game. It is a family weight game. That is really, really fun.
And really
there's
accessible,
a number of these games. Probably in the next one, we'll drop another one of these.
Probably.
But all of Hamba's games in that kind of next level, that family weight,
all
are
outstanding.
really solid.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of don't get as much love because people don't think of Hamba for that level of game. They think little kid.
Yeah.
And there's this great growing library of games that are for the entire family to play.
And they're really
all
good.
Really fantastic.
Yeah, and Hanga is, and again, it's Hamba, so the production quality is outstanding. The art's outstanding. It's just, it's so much fun. It really is.
It really is ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
And it's just gaining resources, contract fulfillment, keep Hanga happy, and get out. That's our number 5.
Hanga. Let's get number 4.
Number 4 from Board and Dice is Mandala Stones. This is the next Azul, if people figure it out.
And here's the thing. This is, on these lists, we tend to not put like new games because sometimes it's just like, this game hasn't been around long enough.
And like, to be fair with a new game, especially this year, it's like part of any game, it's just like, it probably hasn't gotten in front of people because people haven't been in front of games.
And maybe we'll be wrong about this one in the future,
we're kind of preemptively talking about this game because we think it really has a lot to offer and it's really beautiful. Mandala Stones is similar to an Azul in that it's beautiful, abstract, you're kind of collecting these stones, and it does it in a really fun, puzzly,
really interesting way.
Because you will basically take these kind of like artists, these pawns, and you move them to an available space, and then there will be some amount of stones around that. They're up to 4.
Yeah.
Most of the time it'll be 4. And then what you can do is you can collect, going in clockwise fashion, every stone of the same color. Or sorry, the same pattern.
Yes.
And there's 2 types of patterns and stuff. So you kind of want to place your artists in a way that you can get a lot of stones. And then you were going to take them in the order that you kind of collect them and then plop them down onto your player board onto one of, I think you have 5 kind of foundation spots that can hold up to 4 of these stacks. And each of these foundations want to basically have your stack be a certain height. Sometimes it's better if the stack is small. Sometimes it's better if the stack is large.
Yeah, they all score differently,
And you want to get them out, and then you can score them by color. So basically, once they're on your board, you can score for color, and every
red
stack
stone
that has red on top, you can collect and score those, and that will reveal the next thing beneath it if there is something beneath it. And so it's all about kind of like, I want to make sure I have a bunch of reds and then blues and then yellows. So
really
I can
need to plan ahead.
score on 3 successive turns.
Because again, you can only score all of one color.
Yeah.
So if you have one red, if you have a whole rainbow, that's not good because then you can only score one thing. So you're trying to set up, but you're also trying to set yourself up now and set yourself up for the future. And you also have to pay attention to like this stack. The one on the bottom scores 1 point, the next one scores 2 points, the third one scores 5 points, and the top one scores 3 points. So you're like, okay, so this one I want it to be the third one up, but this one I want it to be on the bottom. This one over here, this one scores 1 point for every different color in the stack. So you're just like, so it gets the puzzle is tough, and then you're also trying to put your artists out to grab. It's such a puzzle, and again, this is a game that's like
while being like fairly simple. There's only there's 4 colors, there's 2 patterns that are available, and then each artist basically that you move, you can collect one of the. They'll be holding one of the patterns.
Exactly.
And so, but there's all this kind of spatial stuff
and it's
while not being that many
brain
moving
burning.
parts.
Oh, 100%. And then it's like, and then beautiful art, great acrylic tiles, and we literally are like, this is gonna be the next Azul.
Yeah.
Like it's in that same rate.
Once people start getting back into
I
conventions
hope so, man,
and they start getting in front of games
it's
more.
so good.
Because it's just like, it looks beautiful. It's like, who's not gonna pick that up?
Yeah, I'm hoping if people can start seeing it on a table, they'll start being like, what is that? What is that? Because it is so darn good. And I think maybe it's just the product of when it came out or something like that, but it's just, I feel like this game
2021's been rough, you know?
kind of didn't make a splash, and it really should have. I really think that those kinds of games that tend to sell very well. I really wish I hope more people play it because I think it's great.
I do think it's going to happen.
I hope so.
I really think
so.
it's just going to have that kind of delayed kind of adulation that it deserves. Mandala Stones is super fun. There's an small expansion coming out for it as well. So there'll be more things I think that are going to add some really neat, simple changes to the game that are going to give you some more stuff to think about. So it's great. That's our number 4, Mandala Stones.
All right, let's get number 3.
Number 3 is another underrated gem from Board and Dice.
It is.
Sierra West. We love it so much.
We love Sierra West. I don't know how many
We're the only ones.
I feel like we're the only ones who love it. But Sierra West this was my favorite game of 2018, 19, whatever year it came out.
2019, yeah.
This is a game where I saw it at Origins on a table, and I literally it stopped me in my tracks, and I literally went like, "What is this?" And then Rainer at Board and Dice, who we didn't actually know yet, it was the first time we actually met him. He was like, "Oh, this is like Origins." He's kind of not Origins, which is also a good game, but this game Sierra West, and he's telling me about it, and I was just looking at it, and I went, "This is my favorite game of the year."
Yeah, it was.
This is going to be my
Lived
favorite
up
game
to
of the year,
it.
and it was. I really like it. This game has got. I will say there's certain rules, there's certain parts of this game that are fiddly, but like I think the rest of it makes up for it so much. This game it's so hard to describe. How do you describe Sierra
It's kind
West?
of got a lot of stuff going on.
Yes,
which
it's
is
got a
interesting.
lot of little mechanics.
It's got action programming. It's
A
got
little bit of
worker
deck building,
placement,
a little bit of worker
deck
placement.
building, and it's got different modules you play. That's what we really love about this game is that the setup of the game is always the same. You're always going to build out 3 cards, and you can arrange them, and that's kind of the fiddly bit, but I think it's really fun.
I think it's great.
You can arrange your 3 cards into this little mini card pyramid, and it will give you 2 rows of actions.
Yes.
And then you can then go down these paths, and
Kind of
whatever kind of
pioneers will go
order
down the
you
actions.
want to do, you can move the bottom one 2, then the top one all the way, and you collect resources. You can make use of the actions and stuff,
Yeah.
but the cards that you kind of build a mountain of cards in the center of the
like
table.
literally a mountain. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
And you kind of excavate that mountain, and that's where the module comes into play because those cards are going to be modular specific, and they're going to give you different things you can do. So I love that Sierra West is kind of a game system.
Yes.
Where you have like the mechanisms and how things work always stay the same. There's certain tracks that you can always go up and all that, but then, the types of things you can do are going to change. Like in one, you can collect fish, and you can sell fish in a market. Another one, you can go mining for gold. Another one, you can chase down bandits and stuff.
And then one, you're getting like apple orchards and stuff. And it literally is, it's like every single game, half of it is always the same. And then the other half is different depending on what module you're playing. And it's just, and again, it's got a lot of little mechanics going on, and that can kind of throw people off. And there's certain different things where you get in these cabins, and it can get, that whole part can get kind of weird, to be completely honest. And I understand some people don't like. We love this game, though, and we feel like we're the only ones who talk about it. I love Sierra West. I think it's gorgeous. I think the way it works is so fascinating. I wish it would get expansion. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's sold well enough to get an expansion. But I would love to have more modules. And yeah, there's like just one with like dueling banjos. It's just so cool, and it's just the way the modules stuff work. I think is so interesting, and I just think the game is great. It's a Johnny Pack game. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great cover, such a pretty cover, which doesn't matter for the game, but it's a very pretty cover.
It's one of the best covers out there.
And I love it. I love Sierra West.
That's Sierra West, our number 3 from Board and Dice. Criminally underrated, we say.
Sure.
Let's get to number 2.
All right, our number 2 is a game that a lot of people were like, how is this not your first one? Because we do talk about this game a lot. And this is Wendake. Wendake is a game that we're big evangelists for the game Wendake. This is a really cool, we like interesting action selection mechanics. I have realized throughout this entire list.
For them.
Yeah, we love interesting mechanics. And Wendake is a game where you are the Wendat people, which are a Native American tribe up in the Michigan area of the USA, if you know where that is. And it's so you're the different tribes of the Wendat people, and you're essentially, it's got a bit of area control in the main board where you're kind of get area control so you can get, pelts from like beavers and stuff like that, and different kinds of vegetables like corn and pumpkins and beans and stuff. But it's got this really cool action selection system where your little player board has really big, super thick dual layer boards, by the way.
Nice.
And you have these 9 tiles that are kind of randomly assigned into your little action selection board. And you are essentially, they're in a 3x3 grid, and you're going to choose either a row to activate, a column to activate, or you can go a diagonal or the other diagonal. You're going to tic-tac-toe it is basically what it is. And you're going to activate the things in that row, column, or diagonal. And then what's going to happen is you're then going to flip over the tiles that you activated. On the back ends, there's another action you can do, but all the actions are the same on the back. And then you're going to move the tiles down. So the tiles in the bottom row are going to fall off your board.
Back to the top.
Then you're going to get a new tile, which is a better version of the actions you already have. And then you're going to throw out one of your old tiles, and you're going to shuffle up those 3 tiles and put them back at the top. So your actions are constantly cycling through like this.
It's a really cool
and
thing.
It's just fascinating because you're like, you don't want to use all of your stuff because then it flips over and you can't use it. And you really have to puzzle out how to use your actions. And the fact that you're constantly shuffling them through and they're getting better and better and better as you get the more better tiles throughout the games. And then you can get these other things that give you kind of like special powers. It's just so freaking good.
Yeah, but it's got the really cool thing of like, there's basically 4 areas of scoring. There's going to be 2 above the board, 2 below. And you're only going to score the lower of the 2 on either end of the board. So you have to kind of balance your stuff. You can't focus only on mask ceremonies and not doing anything with marketing because if marketing's 1, your score is 1. So the idea, we always love when a game forces you, No, they're marketing themselves. And trading. Yeah, market actions.
That was like market.
Euro game stuff, you get it. He's trading. And so you need to really focus your attention everywhere. You can't let anything slide and slip. And so it kind of puts even more emphasis on when to use your actions, how do you maximize your stuff.
Yeah.
And so you can really move down all the tracks equally. It's got a lot of those types of things that we really enjoy, and that's why it's our number 2.
It's so good. And the production value is great. It's also
bits on bits on bits in that game.
It's incredible. It's really, really good.
That's when Dake our number 2.
Let's get to number 1.
We recently played this, and I think it reminded us, and it always does when we play this game, we're like, God, this game is good, because it's got such a fun theme that we really enjoy. It's macabre. It's all about, like, hey, I run an inn, but I'm just going to kill my guests. It's better for me if I just, like, literally
kill all of them.
But you bribe others to help you kill the ones that you have. And then you just basically jack them for the money in their pockets.
Yeah, you steal their money. It's really weird. It's a very odd theme. Again, you're a family running an inn, and you all decide to start killing your guests.
Everyone has agreed this is the best course of action.
But you're in competition. It's not like a cooperative game. So you're all in the same family, in the same inn, but trying to kill the most valuable guests. It's really weird.
You want to be the rich, you want to have the bragging rights.
But here's the thing. You always talk about this. Like, this game is so well designed.
It is. It is brilliantly, simply designed. It's not a super complicated game. But the game, this is why it's so brilliant. Everything comes down to card play. It's hand management to the max.
Yes.
Everything comes down to card play.
Really hard balance.
There are different ranks of people, and there's different types of people that help you in different things. There's kind of, there's police, there's like noblemen, there's clergy folk, there's kind of like artisans, like worker folk. And they all have different ranks, and they all help you in different ways. So if you want to bribe somebody that's a rank 1, you have to pay 1 card from your hand.
Yeah.
If you bribe someone and you use a blue card who helps people with bribes, you get to place that and put it back into your hand.
Yes.
You need to kill somebody. Use a cop. They help you out. Clergy folks help you bury corpses.
Yeah.
And so it's all about this card play. And if something's a rank 2, you spend 2 cards.
Yes.
You spend 2 cards to bribe them. You spend 2 cards to kill them. You spend 2 cards to turn them into an annex. You spend 2 cards to bury them. It's always the same.
It's exactly the same.
And it's so easy to understand and remember what things cost. But it comes down to that balance of like, I need cards in my hand to use this, but I want to use this person to make them an annex because then I get the power of that. Well, I need to get somebody else then,
Yeah, it's really tough because on your turn, you can only do 2 actions every round. So the thing is, you cannot, for the most part, usually it's hard to like kill a guest and bury the guest in the same turn because it costs a lot of cards, especially if they're like a level 3. It's gonna cost you 6 cards to do that. It's very, very expensive. And the problem is at the end of every night, if there are any police in the inn still, they perform an investigation. And if you have any unburied corpses, they're gonna find them, and then you have to essentially bribe the village gravedigger to get rid of the corpse, and you lose it and you lose money. It's really bad when that happens. So it's this constant balance of when can you do stuff, can you get the stuff you need to get done before you get in trouble, and it's really, really hard balance. But it all comes down to the exact same thing. No matter what it is, you pay the rent.
Spend that many cards to do that.
No matter what it is. And you need places to bury them, so you have to build out the inn. You're like, I'm going to put this other thing over here so I can bury 2 corpses under it. It's, again, very macabre, very, very hard theme for some people.
You can bury 2 corpses.
Exactly.
It all comes back to the annexes.
Everything's
give you
the
powers.
same. And it's just, honestly, it's weird to talk about how elegant this game is, considering how
it's such a dark theme,
how dark it is, but it really
it's dealt
is
with in a fun way.
The balance, the puzzle balance is so damn elegant.
Yeah.
It's incredibly well done. And then they just threw this crazy theme on top of it with really cool Webison Santiago art, who's got very odd art style, which really fits with this theme.
Really works with the game.
And it works. And this is a game that probably a lot of people don't try because of the theme. And again, it's just an odd look. But it's so good. It's just absolutely incredible.
Every time we play it, I'm like, dang, it's not. This game isn't being carried by the theme.
No,
the design is paired with the theme really well.
It's just good. It's great.
We love it. We love it. It'll always stick around in our collection. It's always perfect to play around Halloween.
Oh yeah.
It's just a perfect game for that. We played that on during this TLN during October. I'm like, this is great because it's just like, let's kill people.
It's ridiculous.
But for money, you know, it's fun to revel in the darkness sometimes.
Indeed, and that's our list. That's our number 1. That's another top 10. So remember, if we get to 2,000 likes on this one, we'll do a part 3 because we can talk about 10 more games very, very easily. So nonetheless, thank you so much for being here again. Thank you everyone who watched the first video and liked it enough to make the second video. At the end of all our top 10s, we like to shout out all of our patrons. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/thebrothersmurph. If you like us enough, you want to kick a couple dollars to us, please feel free to do that over there. Thank you so much to our patrons. The fact that anyone wants to give us anything means the world, honestly.
It keeps this whole thing going, and we wouldn't be here without it. It's amazing.
But yeah, that's gonna be it. What are some of your favorite underrated games? Put them down in the comments below.
Hit them.
Because we scour the comments. We're like, is there anything we missed? We're like, oh yeah, this game. That's right. Because I feel like we all have that. Like, why does no one play this game? Why am I the only person that likes this game? You know. So
we all have an example of it, which is again something I really love about board games. Is something that maybe so many people look over. For somebody, it's their favorite game.
Yes.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
I think that's just one of the best things about this hobby is no game is a bad game to everybody.
Yeah. No.
You know, maybe some should.
Yeah.
But someone's gonna be their favorite game. you know? And we all have different opinions. It's all subjective anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for being here. Yeah. We love you all to death, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see everybody in the next top 10.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you so much for watching that top 10. If you want to check out the first list of this, check out that video right there, because that's the first part of it. In that video down there is going to be one of our game houses. We do full playthroughs once a week here on Wednesdays usually, and they're really good. We like them a lot.
Do check them out, and we'll see you all. Don't forget to subscribe,
Share
thumb this video up, and check
out
our Patreon while you're at it.
That's right.